or dive in the ocean deep, whether it's winter or spring, whether I cry or sing. My soul remembers. My soul remember. When the world is bearing unbearable pain, my soul remembers your love, shimmering over us, a rainbow rising after the rain. Whether at war or at peace, awake or asleep, whether I'm walking the streets or dive in the ocean deep, if I'm alone or in a crowd, feeling humble or proud, silently sulking about or laughing out loud, whether I'm right or I'm wrong, standing timid or strong, wherever on earth I belong. And when my last breath is gone, whatever I do, whatever I seek, safe in your arms I'll be. My soul remembers. My soul remembers. My soul remembers.
and efforts of many. I am Rapali Robinson, and I'm guiding us through this morning. Our musician is Janet. Our prayer partner is Jackie Tatum. The board member on duty is Barbara Gordon. Our AV is being covered and stream team by both Steve Greeno and Gabe Coleman. The speaker today is our part-time minister of record, Reverend Betty Martin Lewis, whose gifts are many. She has been teaching metaphysics online for the Unity Worldwide Spiritual Institute curriculum since 2017. She's been a licensed Unity teacher since 2005. She has founded her own church, and we are blessed to have her 2 times a month. Her lesson today is entitled, "The Courage to Live More Fully." Reverend Betty?
So I invite you to an opening prayer now. We just move our attention inward to that inner sanctuary, relaxing our bodies and letting go of any concerns of the day. And feeling ourselves present in the here and now. Present to our Christ selves. Feeling that deep connect. Start our service today and know that we hear what we
Know what is on our heart and mind. And it is meant to run for about an hour. The other announcement is just one that has been kind of buried a couple of times. But when we have guest speakers, we're looking to get feedback on the guest speakers that have come. And we've had some very fine guest speakers. It does help us know your preference and what you want. So please, the next time we do have a guest speaker, just take a moment to fill out the form. They are usually on the little table in the entryway here, the alcove. The big announcement, though, is the Art of Quantum Living Workshop.
So I'm looking forward to actually working with you all on this art of living, the art of quantum living is the title of it. It's an actual spiritual practice over 21 days, and we're going to start in June. Many of you have the handout in your hands right this very minute, so you may have to prompt me. It starts, what, June 16th, is it? It's 3 Saturdays in June, two hours on a Saturday, starting on the 11th. And so 3 Saturdays, and then there's follow-up for some practice that will be 3 1.5-hour sessions that we'll determine when those are scheduled, when we have the group together and figure that out. And it might even be online, the other 3 sessions to practice. So we really encourage you all to come. This is endorsed by Unity Worldwide Ministries. Many ministries across the country have taken this. It has been applied in many of the Unity centers where they're really experimenting with cutting-edge transformation. So I can say if you are ready for some real breakthroughs in releasing the stuff that needs to be released, to let your wonderful spirit emerge and the expression of the truth and the essence of who you are come forth authentically, this class will help you. And I had to be certified to teach it, and I have to tell you, they make us take it each time we get recertified. So 3 different times I've had to take the class as well as be recertified. And every time I've had a breakthrough in my own consciousness that just amazed me and brought me great joy to know myself better and to unleash that authenticity within. So if you're ready to grow at that level and really want some transformational learning and a process that will help you do that, you walk away with a workbook that you can continue to use this process, and it's really worth it. So the charge for the course is $40, and all of it will go to Unity of Gainesville. So we would just love to have as many people come. And I will tell you that we're doing the first one in person here in the facility, but we'll do another one following up maybe late summer, early fall online if you can't come in person. I know some of you on Zoom are not coming back into groups again yet, so you'll have a chance to take it online. So would really love to see all of you there so that we can work together on really, as each of us works on our inner work, we're raising the consciousness of this whole ministry. So we'll be seeing a lot of changes continuing, ongoing. Okay. And now we have the daily word.
Yes.
Who's the daily word?
It's green when it's on.
Good morning. The daily word for today is forgive. I begin my journey of forgiveness. And the scripture for this morning is from Colossians 3:13. Unforgiveness is I forgot to read that. Bear with one another, and if anyone has a complaint against another, forgive each other. Just as the Lord has forgiven you, so you also must forgive. Unforgiveness is a heavy bag of rocks I carry on my shoulders. When I drop the bag and begin to set the rocks aside one by one, I embark upon a healing journey. God is with and within me on this journey as my constant support and strength. When forgiveness feels difficult, I need only return my attention to Spirit's constant, loving, and accepting presence within me. Reestablishing my conscious connection brings warm and welcoming acceptance. It is an important step in the unburdening process of forgiveness. I forgive others as well as myself, knowing each act of forgiveness increases my freedom to live a happy and fulfilling life. And the affirmation again, I begin my journey of forgiveness.
So the message today is about courage. So I want to do a wonderful song by Janice Stanfield called If I Were Brave, something I try to remember every day. What would I do if I knew I could not fail? If I believed with the wind fill up my sail, how far would I go? What could I achieve? Trusting the hero in me. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge where fools and dreamers dare to tread. I'd never lose faith, even when losing my way. What steps would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What if we're all meant to do what we secretly dream? And what would you ask if you knew you could have anything? Like the mighty oak sleeps in the heart of a seed, are there miracles in you and me? If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge where fools and dreamers dare to tread. I'd never lose faith, even when losing my way. What steps would I take today if I were brave? This is the sing-along part. What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? If I refuse to listen to the voice of fear, would the voice of courage whisper in my ear? If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge where fools and dreamers dare to tread. I'd never lose faith, even when losing my way. What steps would I take today if I were brave? And here we go. What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? Something to sing every morning when you get up, right?
Thank you, Janet. That was beautiful. If I were brave. Wow, our theme for this month that Carla introduced to us to last week is acts of courage. Acts of courage. Courage as a spiritual practice. And the affirmation we have for that is, I'm willing to try new things and new ways of being. I'm willing to try new things and new ways of being. Would you repeat that with me? If you're willing, I am willing to try new things and new ways of being. And look at somebody and tell them, you are willing to try new things and new ways of being. Yes, and we are willing to try new things and new ways of being, right? Together. We are willing to try new things and new ways of being. And probably in our lifetimes, this is such an important message, one of the most important messages for this time we're living through. To release our longing for what was, because it ain't coming back that way. It ain't coming back the same way at all. So we're going to need to try new things and show up in new ways to the challenges of life. So some of you probably remember that tall, lanky hero of the old Western movies, John Wayne. He said, courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyway. Can you just see him? There's the sheriff and his deputies that he's just got the team together to go out and get the bad guys. And, they ride out of town to that dramatic music and they're scared, quaking in their boots, but they're going anyway. That's the image of courage, huh? And as Carla defined courage last week, it's the ability or the strength or the bravery to do something that could be dangerous. That's one of the definitions. But I'm going to add to that definition because I really want to talk about spiritual courage. And I always test out my ideas on some of my family members when I'm doing my talks. And so I asked a dear one in my family to give me some examples. He's a younger man, and I wanted to hear a perspective of courage from his perspective. And he said, yes, when I worked on those shrimp boats, we were out in the Gulf, and I jumped right off the top deck of that trawler into shark-infested waters. And the captain told me not to, but I did it anyway. And I thought, are you sure that's courage, or is that just stupidity? I mean... And the captain told me anyway, I thought was, so here's his supervisor say, and I said, do you ever think that the supervisor might be worried about his insurance when he gets back home and you're not on the boat? So there is a distinction between what our ego might call courage, right? And what true essence of divine courage is. So it's helpful to really know our egos and what they keep whispering, one side of us, and then, knowing that the Christ self is whispering perhaps something else, and really understanding the nature of that paradox within us, because we're, again, for the whole year exploring being fully human, fully divine, which is a paradox. It's a paradox. And so fear, is going to rear its ugly head in many, many experiences that we have in life. But courage is the ability to walk through that fear. And every experience where we really stop and look fear in the face and then do what is the highest good to do anyway, that's courage, that's bravery. And I always loved that quote by Eleanor Roosevelt, who, some of you may remember, her mother always called her plain, and that was a code word in those days for ugly, right? She was plain, and if you're plain, you're not mean. She wasn't, and she just kept getting these negative messages in life. And look, she married the future president. She became the first lady, and she was scared to death of public speaking. So when all the White House aides would say, no, Mrs. Roosevelt, you've got to speak, she overcame so many things. She became a UN delegate, a delegate to the United Nations later after her husband died. She traveled the world and spoke her truth. Amazing woman. And so she had a lot of quotes about fear because she had the experience of looking fear in the face. And she said, that God is in us, we are in God. And if we really, really know that we are do amazing things, and that's what Jesus taught us. The things I do, you can do too, and even more, right? So I've got 3 questions I'd like you to walk away with. I don't have all the answers, but I've got 3 questions about courage that I think we ought to ask ourselves periodically. And one is, do we have the courage to love as Jesus taught us? Do we have the courage to love as Jesus taught us? Do we have the courage to speak our truth? And do we have the courage to live our best life? So do we have the courage to love as Jesus taught us? He gave a new commandment. He said, love one another. And you're to love one another with unconditional love. You didn't have to do anything. The love was just freely flowing from our spirit, our soul, ready to be shared, but we block it often. But he says, and you will truly love one another. Love yourself and love one another. Media, media has commercialized the word love, which makes me so sad when I see these advertisements, and we're seeing a lot of them because, see, the marketers really know how to research. Some of you are in sales and marketing, they research what's important to people. We're hungry for love. We yearn to be loved and to love because it works. But there's several automobile manufacturers who say that love makes this car, and then they drape a voluptuous woman on it just to make sure you get the message you got right. and there's a new credit card company called Bella Loves Me. That's actually the incorporated name of this company, Bella Loves Me. Bella's the name of the credit card. And I've been seeing a banking advertisement lately that says it loves its customers. It loves its customers. Well, yes, to do something when you advertise love like that. But we're talking way beyond love as an emotion. We're talking love as a transformative power. If you trust enough and you step out in courage enough to love unconditionally, divine power of love. But it's scary, isn't it, sometimes? Every day I would send her love for 7 years.